You know, I always say that knowledge is power. But here's something that I think you'll agree with. Hidden knowledge, that's a superpower. Like, what if I told you the U.S. government once ran a secret operation to break apart African American communities from the inside, using neighbors, friends, even family members as informants? It's a story you won't learn anywhere else. Let's talk about it briefly. In the late 1960s, the civil rights movement was in full swing. Black movement leaders such as Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were, each on its way, actively working to improve the social-economic conditions of African Americans. Equality, integration, those were the goals. But behind the scenes, the FBI had a different agenda. They launched a program with a simple name, the Ghetto Informant program. And its mission was anything but simple. Recruit ordinary people, shop owners, postal workers, even teenagers to spy on their own communities, to report on conversations, meetings, even the leaders that people were talking about. By the end of the 1960s, the FBI had over 2,000 informants in 30 cities. They fed a massive database with information. But hold on, because there's a question that's probably popped into your head. Did these informants participate willingly? Well, that's a story within a story. Some informants volunteered, driven by fear, others by anger at the rising tide of black power. Some were teenagers, barely old enough to understand the complexities of the movement they were supposedly supporting. Others were paid handsomely for their services. Many informants were even given immunity from prosecution for crimes they committed while working for the FBI. So what were they reporting on? Everything. Informants documented meetings, noting who attended and what was discussed. They reported on conversations overheard in barbershops and beauty parlors, on rumors circulating in the streets. Imagine coming home after a long day, sitting down to dinner and opening up your mail only to find a letter from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, basically the FBI, asking you to become an informant. Many received such letters, many refused. But some agreed, some became the eyes and ears of the FBI. The question is, why? Why break apart these communities? Well, the answer lies in a famous quote by the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." In the context of the civil rights movement, this meant that if you can't turn people against one another, you can't stop the movement. But with people turned against one another, you can dismantle the movement from within. That's the strategy of mistrust. And it was the strategy that the FBI employed. Harlem, Chicago, Los Angeles. These were once vibrant centers of the civil rights movement. But with the infusion of informants, they became battlegrounds of suspicion. Friends questioned friends, neighbors spied on neighbors. The very idea of community became an endangered concept. Families fractured. Informants reported on Christmas gatherings, birthday parties, even funerals. Activist meetings were infiltrated. Plans for boycotts and protests leaked. The program's genius wasn't in the arrests, although there were plenty of those, but in creating an atmosphere of suspicion. If you couldn't trust your neighbor, how could you organize your block? If you couldn't trust your friend, how could you plan a protest? The FBI didn't need to arrest everyone. They just needed to turn everyone against everyone. But did they succeed? Well, that's a tough one to answer. Officially, the Ghetto Informant program ended in 1971, but broken trust doesn't have an end date. It lingers. And some sociologists argue that the lingering fear of surveillance still shapes how black communities engage with government and with each other. The mistrust created the perfect condition for the mass incarceration era. It made economic cooperation difficult, local politics nearly impossible, and ultimately paved the way for generations of mass incarceration. Now, here's the bigger question. Could similar tactics be happening now? I mean, we live in a world where social media feeds can be manipulated, where digital surveillance is a fact of life, and where online trolls, some of them paid, can manufacture consent. The playbook hasn't changed much. Make people doubt one another, and you can stop them from uniting for real change. We live in an age of hidden knowledge. To stay informed, subscribe for more updates. And until next time, let the questions here echo in your mind. If you enjoyed this video, please share for more thought-provoking content. Your support means everything. Let's keep the conversation going.